This story comes from the pages of Battleworld Marvel Zombies issue number 3. Please support the official release. As always, I also wanted to let you guys know that our superhero training program is live. If you're ready to get your confidence back and finally get in the superhero shape you've always dreamed of, you can contact me in the consultation form in the video description below. We can hop on a call and discuss your fitness goals and nerd out about comics. What's there not to love? The next issue opens, where we see Elsa Bloodstone inside the zombie encampment, as she comes face to face with the imprisoned Deadpool, strung up upside down against a series of bells. Here we discover that Zombie Mystique and her soldiers had managed to kidnap Deadpool one night from the Shield, where every night they would eat parts of his brain, making them smarter and keeping their hunger at bay so they could make wiser decisions. And Deadpool being Deadpool, this would be just their luck, as each night the eaten parts of his mind would grow back, creating an unlimited source of literal brain food for them. Ready to immediately headshot the guy as she believed him to be a zombie as well, we'd see that Wade, despite being absolutely insane, was still very much human. These zombies took precautions with him not to spoil their meat, and had in fact been using a nearby spork to eat the mercenary's noggin when it was dinner time. Man, what in the Fallout side quest is this? Actually feeling kinda bad for the guy, Elsa said she was in a tough spot in getting the merc down, for even if she was strong enough to rip the cables, it would sound the bells that Wade was attached to, and not even she was strong enough to take on all these undead at once. A further testament to show just how clever these zombies had become. Offering to stack up a series of oil drums to try and cut Deadpool down, the man knew why Elsa was really here, and that was to save the child Zombie Mystique had in captivity. Here we would see Elsa hang her head in defeat. That was her main objective, but now she felt she had failed, as Mystique had already bitten into the kid's arm. They were infected and as good as dead. While on the surface this would seem to be the case, our boy Deadpool told Elsa to open her eyes and look through the nearby window. Here we'd see the kid, despite being bitten, was still completely human. This child was special. They were immune. Also realizing this gift, Mystique wondered just what could be causing this immunity, noting that perhaps it could even be a cure. Believing the secret lied within the child's mind, the mutant had her men bring her a machete, where she went to slice open their head and claim the fleshy pink prize inside. Here we would see there was even more to the kid than we realized, for they could actually sense that Elsa was nearby. It was right after this that Deadpool would then astutely remark that Elsa was straight up glowing. Fueled with superhuman rage, we then see Elsa's Bloodstone activate once more, where she'd gain flash-like abilities, where she'd grab the kid and race out of the camp at superhuman speeds, trampling and mangling several zombies in the process. As the pair rocketed through the pouring rain, the child would be overjoyed that Elsa came to save them, but said they could not leave Deadpool there to suffer. Elsa would say there was no way they could go back to the camp, as now the zombies were aware of their presence. However, the kiddo would interject that they would hear how the man would scream upon being eaten each night, and no one should suffer like that. Moved by the kid's words, Elsa still refused to go back, but there was something she could do, and that was to put Deadpool out of his misery. Taking out her gun, Elsa had the child aim the weapon at the oil drums where Deadpool was being held. Once they were to open fire, the barrels would explode, turning the merc to ash, and not even his healing factor was powerful enough to come back from that. I mean, I beg to differ. Deadpool literally gets blown up all the time and comes back, but hey, plot armor is only as thick as the writers say it is. Witnessing the infuriated zombies out looking for them, the child pleaded with Elsa not to make them do this, for they could not bring themselves to kill Deadpool, who they saw as a friend. However, Elsa would have no mercy, where her father's words would echo through her once more, telling the kid that there were no excuses and that it was time to grow up. Knowing the severity of the situation, the child took these words to heart, where they decided to lock in and aim the weapon in Deadpool's direction. Coming to the full realization that she literally was about to have a child murder an innocent man just because that's what her dad would have made her do, Elsa grabbed the gun and cursed the old man, declaring that children should be children. Getting a clear shot at the barrels, Deadpool noticed Elsa's scope, excitedly announcing that it was bath time. A massive explosion would then tear through the camp, with the zombies completely ticked that their unlimited food supply was now gone. A vengeful Mystique would then demand for her men to bring the girl back to her. Surprised that the child was indeed a she after believing her to be a he this whole time, Elsa asked why she never told her this, where she said that she never asked. Elsa, are you assuming genders in the zombie apocalypse? Bigot. The zombies would soon locate the pair, where Elsa, believing they were done for, would be mistaken, where out of nowhere the mysterious cloaked man from before would tear into the hordes, swearing that these two were his. The man would proceed to brutally rip the armies apart, with the young girl noting that he was enjoying this. Watching on in terror, Elsa would notice her stone begin to glow once more. Not sticking around to see what zombie Assassin's Creed wanted with them, Elsa managed to activate her super speed once again, completely eviscerating a zombie mole man who tried to jump scare them. Sorry, mole man. You'll do something cool one of these days. Sprinting through the Deadlands, Elsa would remark that she had never felt this strong. The child would say this was awesome, but was still thinking about how she had killed Deadpool, and asked Elsa if it came to it, would she be able to bring herself to kill her if the moment came to it. Elsa would then think back to her father once again, where she would quote him by saying, "Better to destroy what's good than let the darkness devour it." So basically, Elsa, are you saying you would totally ice a kid? Man, Anakin Skywalker was wrong in marrying Padme. You two are perfect for each other. Bloodstone would then reflect on a time where her dad had even killed an innocent hostage just to take down a hostile monster, saying that a warrior of light does not concern himself with quibbling at the price. He thinks only of the struggle. While he thought this sounded like a cool macho guy thing to say, upon hearing this, the child admitted that Elsa's dad sounded like a total jerk. We'd see just how true this was as we'd get more flashbacks to Elsa's youth, where we'd see Ulysses brutally beat a boy who had walked her home when they were teenagers, and one time scolded Elsa for taking too long to kill a monster when she was just a little girl. He then forced her to let its poisonous blood to stay on her scalp, which got infected, where he forced her to lie to her mother about how it happened. Coming back to the present, we would see Elsa and the child make their way to a cave where they went to set up camp for the night. Before they could get a much-needed rest, the pair were met by the cave's inhabitant, which was a zombie Morbius, who let out his best Dracula, blah, before having his head literally headbutted off by Elsa. The poor guy literally got morbed again. As they made their way inside the cavern, the child would ask Elsa just how her dad had died, you know, with him being immortal and all. Elsa would have her theories. Perhaps he was alive for too long. Perhaps it was his bloodstone that was poisoning him. Regardless, all she knew was that no one man should have all that power, and that she believed what truly finished him off was that he eventually came to the realization that he was not as perfect as he thought he was. We'd be taken to yet another flashback where we'd see just how bad Ulysses' condition had gotten, as his body had degraded to basically a zombified husk, where he tossed a shotgun at Elsa's feet, begging her to kill him and claim her inheritance by taking his place. However, Elsa would not give the stubborn old man the satisfaction. She would leave him to suffer. Sometime later, she would get a call from the local morgue, where she discovered that something had finally killed her once thought immortal old man. She'd find his withered corpse with the bloodstone in his chest crumbled into ash. The man responsible for her nightmarish childhood was finally gone. Instead of sorrow, Elsa would honestly be overjoyed, even caught smiling at the man's own funeral. Taken to the present once more, we'd see that this child was the very first person that Elsa had ever given this much-needed trauma dump on, saying that she felt bad for feeling this moment of joy and had joined the Shield to make amends, and found herself fighting for the good and vanquishing the vile. So in the end, her father's vision for her was victorious, as she ended up becoming just who he wanted her to be. Glad she got these feelings off her chest, Elsa would see that the young girl had nestled next to her protector and had fallen fast asleep during her tale. Her heart warmed by the child's affection, Elsa told the girl to sleep well, for tomorrow was a new day. The next morning, we'd see the two girls having a rather wholesome race across the landscape, where they would soon come to an ocean cliffside. She was thinking about these recent events, and they just weren't adding up. The girl's random appearance right in the middle of the wasteland, her bloodstone activating new powers whenever she was around, and most importantly, her immunity to the virus. There was more to her than met the eye, and Elsa wanted answers. Right before the child could respond, the pair were interrupted by a sinister voice. Elsa would tell the child to get behind her, where they would be met by a disturbing and honestly pretty cool sight, where we'd get a clear look at the mysterious stranger who had been following them. He donned a hood while clad in the bones of the undead, and even sporting armor, which appeared to be the remains of the Thing from the Fantastic Four, all while carrying a giant staff with 3 zombified heads perched upon it. Oh, that is so metal. I need a Marvel Legends figure of this guy right now. Wondering just how this dude caught up with them so fast, the stranger would respond to Elsa with a familiar phrase. A good hunter doesn't need to track. He knows where his prey is headed. Removing his mask, we would see that this man was the revived corpse of Elsa's father Ulysses, who asked the horrified woman if she had a kiss for daddy.